Hello and welcome back to Lemon Tree Corner. I'm your host Heather and we do crafty things here. So sewing, crocheting, coloring, all that kind of stuff. This week in the studio we are getting started on all the projects we're going to be making for the October Rhinebeck West show at the Knitting Tree LA. So this week we are making chickens. So we are experimenting. I've got all of my leftover Lori Holt prairie fabrics that we used for the piggies, and we're looking for a replacement for the piggies. So the piggies are super cute, but I've been doing them for 2 years and I'm looking to change it up. And the natural choice is chickens because the Knitting Tree LA is the home of the Emotional Support Chicken and everybody loves chickens there. So what we're going to try and do is take that pyramid pouch that we've made and turn it into chickens. So this is one of the patterns that I found on Etsy. So basically we're not going to quilt this whole thing like she's done, but we are going to make the wattle and the beak and the comb. So that's the idea. Either the zipper will go on the back here or underneath the chicken. And we'll have all of those on a corner, which means I also need to purchase some safety eyes. So I'm going to have to do that first before we get started here, just so that I can definitely install those. So if all that works out, I've got a nice selection of fabrics here that we can make chickens out of. These little pieces can be our finger loops, and like these red ones could also be the wattle and the comb. And then I've got some yellow ones that could be the beak. So hoping this chicken experiment works and we can have lots of chicken bags for the show. So if experimenting with chickens sounds good to you, go ahead and grab yourselves a water or a cool beverage, get comfortable, and let's start making some chickens. Okay, so we have our chicken pattern. Now we're not making the whole thing. I just downloaded the pattern for the little extra bits here. And problem is, we got two dilemmas. First dilemma is, with these experimental patterns, I kind of have 1 week. I got 1 week to make the first prototype, decide if I want to make them, and then make all of them. So that's kind of a big problem, especially when it comes to like the fabric baskets. But other problem with this one is we got safety eyes, and safety eyes are fine if this whole thing's gonna be stuffed. If this thing is gonna be like an actual bag with a zipper that we have, you know, space inside, I can't put like a safety eyes in the corner because they have spikes on them. So then you reach into your bag and you go, ouch, or they poke through the lining, and I got a problem. So I just consulted my chief idea officer, my sister, and we were talking about it. So I ordered some safety eyes and the little thing that you install them with. And my problem now, here, let's take the paper out of this one. It's much smaller than this. It's like 7 inches. But we're going to have this one corner where we're going to be putting the safety eyes and stuff. Oh. Well, that's not going to work because I'm going to need the tail in one corner. Okay, we're probably going to have the safety... I really wanted the safety eyes in a corner that wasn't attached to the zipper. So we got to visualize all this is the problem. The question is, do I get rid of the safety eyes? I'm probably still going to need safety eyes for amigurumi or something else I'm making. And they were pretty cheap on Amazon, so I might as well keep them. But I don't want to do them for this because either I have to stuff the corner and kind of trim down this corner so that the safety eyes aren't poking through it, or we do something else. So what I could do is felt. She's having me use felt for these pieces. I might use fabric, I might use felt, I don't know. But this is what we're doing for these pieces. So I could technically use felt for the eyes, and I could embroider them down like that. I could just do embroidery. My sister and I were joking, I should just do big X's for like dead chickens, but you know, we will avoid that. I could do buttons, but then I'm worried the same thing, that the buttons, that some kid's gonna chew them off, because these are gonna be like the perfect kind of gift for a kid. So I want to make them kid proof as well. So that's the question we have. Oh, by the way, I got contacted by the second person I drew. So we're going to be mailing this puppy off to the winner. So I'm going to have to do that tomorrow. So that will be gone. But it's kind of our visual guide for right now. So we've got these pieces. We're not doing the tail. I'm going to do the beak and the comb and the wattle and whatever. This is from fabric. I got to read the instructions. I haven't read through them yet. But the problem is I've got to make a prototype. Got to make a prototype first. Figure it out. Figure out whether I'm using fabric or felt. I do have a ton of felt, so that wouldn't be that big of a deal. Okay, before we mail off our drawing prize, I was trying to visualize this, and I think we need to figure this out. So, because there's a zipper, I can't have the beak and the wattle and everything on one of these ends because the zipper is going to be in the way. There's also the seam. So it has to be one of these two ends, and this is where all the seams come together at the bottom. So if I pick one of these ends, I think it's just going to look stupid. So I'm going to go through the process of actually making one before I decide this. But I do have another cutesy pattern that we can try. I don't like the idea of that, and then I don't know how it's going to work with being a bag. And I don't want to just like make a stuffed animal, which is basically what this one is. It could be a pin holder also, but most of these people aren't actually sewists, so I don't think that would be very useful for anybody. The other backup is the kitten pouch, which I have already downloaded anyway. It has these little ears, so it's just like a little pouch with ears. It would still be like a coin purse kind of thing, maybe like a little notions pouch. I just don't know how this would work with fabric that's not, that's not solid. Like, it looks great here in this solid color, but none of my fabrics are solid. So the question is it going to look good not solid? And so I've only cut 2 of these out, which is good. This would actually fit on here, which is good. And then there's a drawstring channel. Oh, that's the lining. So this is probably not going to fit on this. Yeah, because I need 2 of those. So it's not going to work with these fabrics, which is fine because these fabrics are more chickeny anyway. So we're not going to worry about those fabrics. And that's the thing about trying new patterns, is you just never know if they're going to work or not until you try them out. Okay, we are going to start with just our little finger loop tail in the one color, and then we're going to switch over to the yellow. Brown or black? I guess there's black in the actual fabric here. I forgot that this one has to go like this. How is that gonna work? That's gonna be here. Is that still gonna work? I think I sewed them the wrong direction then. I think these need to be on the other side because this is gonna be like this. Is that still gonna work? Oh, I'm so hard at visualizing this. Okay, so if these are sewn together and then these are sewn together, I guess we shall see. I was feeling very hopeful there and now I'm confused again. Okay, moment of truth. I think that I put the comb too close to the corner. So let's see what it looks like. Oh. It's like a dolly. Oh my goodness. Okay, well, like a totally deformed chicken. Oh. Oh my god. Oh, that's hilarious. Okay, this is why I was never good at geometry, people. That is hilarious. Well, it almost worked out. Okay, so this is the corner. I don't even know how I would visualize that better. The good thing is it looks super cute. It's just very Salvador Dali. So we would have had to have put it in this corner. It's so confusing though. Okay, so we would have to have the eyes here. The eyes here. The comb here, and then the beak and the wattle there. So let's tear this apart and figure out where that would have to be. Basically, I would have to cut a hole in here in order for that to work. And I don't know that I want to cut a hole and then sew it. You know what I mean? I'd have to cut a hole, insert the comb, and sew it. Which seems like a lot of extra work for this. Okay. Well then, I don't think we're going to be doing this because I'd have to sew this in and have like a whole other seam that doesn't need to be there. Yeah, I think we're going to call it time of death. Okay, I can still totally make pyramid pouches out of these. They just don't need to be chickens. And we shall see. I'll tear this apart and rescue the zipper because we could easily use the zipper in something else. Wah wah. Okay, well that saves me a lot of cutting out of felt and such. So that's good. So let's try out the kitten and see if that works instead. So close, so close. Alrighty, so after having tried a million patterns, with those other two yarns, I'm kind of giving up on them. But I found this great pattern that my sister told me about called the Agatha Christie shawl. It's like a half hexy shawl, so it's 3 sides, and it looks really cool, only it wasn't going to work with either of those yarns that I had. But I have this huge pack of these Sheepjes minis. There's the river washed and the stone washed, and they're all mixed together. And I was thinking, a reading shawl that's basically something I would wrap around me on the couch. I don't know that I would wear it out. Would be perfect for all of these minis. So these are 10-gram minis. So, you know, they're very small. I think altogether we've got, how many of these have we got? We've got, I think I counted like 45 of them. So it's quite a big chunk of yarn if you put them all together. So I was like, I want to try this yarn with that pattern and see if it works. And it does. It's so pretty. Look at that. So this is the 4mm hook. I don't have a 4.5. I tried it in the 5 and it's just too holy. So I'm going to go for the 4. Now what I would like to do is I would like to put all of these in some sort of rainbow order. I mean, they're already in an order right now, which kind of works. So I could just leave them in this order, but I think I want to do a little bit more. The nice thing is that I can store this in this container like this. So if I start from the top and like work my way down, then it's really not a problem keeping it in here and keeping it vertical. So that kind of frees up space for me. Okay, moving on, we have our pieces here. So we've got our exterior. Our lining is a little smaller, doesn't include the ears, so I think I should be able to stuff the ears a little bit just to really give them that oomph. I don't know how I would get it to stay in there, unless maybe I tack the ears from the inside. I don't know. And then our drawstring channel. So really we're just cutting these two things out of this fabric. So I'm kind of sad now that I used that kitty fabric on the other one. Do we have enough? Ooh, that's almost enough. Just barely. I could cut it long ways. I could maybe cut it that way and fit it in there. The cats are all over the place anyway, so it's not really like it's directional. Ooh, well maybe we will make one out of the cat fabric. That would be cool. Okay, we are ready to rock and roll. We are gonna sew these edges down. I'm going to use 2 different thread colors just because I don't want the orange on the muslin. Okay, so I'm going to place this inside here, but I don't know, like, it's pretty much the length of this. So that's going to be fiddly. We don't like fiddly round here. Okay, yeah, it's pretty much exactly the length of that seam. So that's kind of annoying. I think we're just tacking it down though, right? So it just barely fits in there. And then I'll do the other one on the other side. This is really fiddly. Yeah. This is so small. I kind of want to blow up the pattern a little bit. I mean, I don't want it to be that much bigger than it is right now, but this just feels like really fiddly. Alrighty. So, a couple things to note here. This definitely would have worked better if I had folded the drawstring channels in a little further than that. It's very messy. I don't know how I wouldn't get the ear caught in this seam. It's very small, so it's hard to work with under my machine. I also, where I basted the drawstring channels, I used the sandy colored thread, which I would not do again because boom, right there, and this didn't even catch. That's not even sewn in. So I would top stitch around this whole thing, except I don't want to waste the thread at this point. I think we're just gonna do a drawstring channel with the cording I have that I don't mind wasting because I don't want to waste the twill tape because this is not going to be a finished product. I managed to get this ear mostly out of the seam, but I think that's because I didn't manage to catch this in the seam. So I would definitely top stitch this just to make sure it was in there. And then, yeah, let's do the drawstring just to see if we can see the ears, if they make a difference or not. Alrighty, and there we have it, our little cat. It doesn't, kind of looks like a cat by the time you're done there. And then you would just put these around your arm and carry it that way. It is kind of cute. I just feel like, I don't know that I would want it bigger than this, and I don't know if I can blow up the pattern piece the way it is. I'd probably have to scan them in, cut, and blow them up. That's a possibility as well. But it's just way too small for me to sew comfortably in this form. But it is kind of cute. I don't know that the ears really come across. Okay, we got a chicken fail, a kitty kind of fail, and I'm calling it time of death. So yeah, that's it for this video. We're gonna try another new pattern in the next video that I hope works out better, because I need a win. I need a win. Okay, well, this week did not go as planned. We've got a mutant chicken and a kind of cute but difficult kitty bag. So let's talk about that. I can't really grade the chicken pattern because it is not meant to be a bag. I was kind of trying to Frankenstein two patterns together. So this one, I believe each side of the pyramid is its own piece in this case, so that you can sew the comb and the beak and everything in. So that did not work with the bag pattern, the pouch pattern that I already have. So that's not on this pattern. That's just something that I didn't consider was going to happen. As far as the kitten pouch, the directions are kind of lacking. Not my favorite written pattern. There's really no measurements for the drawstring or anything else. Everything's in centimeters, which is fine. I can convert that. I didn't like where she left the gap. The drawstring channels were too wide to really fit in the seam. So not my favorite pattern. I mean, it did turn out okay. It's just too fiddly for me to sew on a machine. Not gonna work for me. However, I think we might be able to scan the pattern pieces in, bump them up to like 105, 110% and try again and just make the drawstring channels shorter. The thing that wasn't good is that the lining is exactly the same size. So I should have sewn that a little bit tighter, and like even there, the lining is still outside of those two marks of where the drawstrings go. So yeah, and there weren't any instructions on how to sew the ears shut without, yeah, it was not very well written, so I would not suggest that one. However, we might be able to make it work anyway. So I'm going to hang on to these pieces, scan them in, see if we can increase it a bit. I wouldn't want to increase it too much just because I don't know how badly I need that little bag. We do have our Japanese knot bag that we are going to make at some point in the future. So I think if I'm going to have a little bag with a handle, this would probably be it. The only reason for that is for it to be cutesy, and the ears don't quite make it cutesy enough, not like the piggy. So if you have any suggestions for things for me to try, go ahead and pop it in the comments. I would love to hear it. If you know of a pattern or an Etsy thing that you want me to try and make, go ahead and pop it in the comments. So pretty much a week worth of fails, and we're going to be doing a new pattern, new to us pattern next week as well. So I could really use a win right about now. I also failed in finding a pattern to do with either of my variegated yarns, and we have the Agatha Christie shawl, but I feel like as soon as I get to this length, it's just going to get bigger from here. And these are only 10-gram minis, so I feel like I'm not even going to get a row out of each color at this point, which I think is going to look pretty weird. I mean, if they all flowed into each other nicely without changing color too much, it wouldn't be too bad, but at this point I don't think that's going to work either, which is why I went ahead and ordered the yarn she made it with in the YouTube video anyway, just because I feel like one color for the whole thing is going to look much better since the thing increases so much. It's going to look much more cohesive. So not sure what to do with these. I think just a a rectangle scarf that's the same size all the way is probably the best bet to do with these. Let me show you what the Advent minis are looking like. So the Advent mini project has been turning out very nice. And I think something like this, it's a rectangular shawl where we just go from color to color, and I have the same amount of rows with each color would look really good. So I'll keep my eye out for another pattern we can do with that. So still on the hunt, but pop it in the comments if you have a crochet pattern that you think would work with any of the yarns. So I hope you join me next week when we give the basket pattern a try. Now, that's one that I saw on one of my favorite YouTubers, So Ray Me. She is a Scottish crocheter, knitter, and sewist. So I really like watching her channel if you're interested in looking at that. And she makes these fabric baskets all the time. So I think it's going to work. They don't have any fusible fleece. I think we'll add a little bit of oomph to them with some fusible fleece, just so that they stand up on their own. I think that would be good. But I think that pattern's gonna work, so hopefully we will have a win next week. But I like to share all of this with you, not just for the schadenfreude of it all, but because it really helps me see somebody else struggle with things or patterns that they don't like, or something doesn't work out the way, because it's just real life. This is real life, and this is what really happens, especially when you're doing a craft. Sometimes they don't work out and you scrap the whole thing and you try something different. So I hope that that is relatable to you. Okay, so I hope that you have a wonderful week ahead, and thank you for coming and spending time with me. I always appreciate it when you show up and write comments and all that fun stuff. I love interacting with you. So I'll see you back here, same bat channel, same bat time next week. Love you, friends. Bye.